What is going on, Sabres fans? Welcome to another episode of Sabres Spotlight, where we shine a light on all things Sabres hockey. Ryan, what's going on?
Dude, it has been a great week for me. Just been hanging out. Um, had a bunch of couple days off work, so that was nice to just chill at home. But now it's this week it's back to reality a little bit for me, and just kind of enjoying that Buffalo weather. It's weird how in February it's kind of feeling like early spring,
Oh
and I'm
yeah,
just
today
kind
was
of
real nice,
I'm kind of enjoying doing my job outside. As weird as that is, like nobody likes their job, but I've currently been enjoying it.
dude. Like. There's times where I'm like so jealous of you that you work outside all day, like when the weather's so nice, and other times where I'm like, wow, I'm so glad I'm not Ryan today.
Like if it's like snowing or like cold as hell or like if it's pouring, yeah, I get it. But that's why I cherish the nice days, especially when it's February 22nd and you know you could get away with having shorts on.
Yeah, it's been. I can't complain. I got my new snowblower this year, and I've used it literally 3 times, and that was all in the span of one weekend when we had that one
Yeah.
storm, and that was it.
Yep.
Like I haven't had a need to use it otherwise, but yeah. So I only really want to talk about one thing real quick before we transition to league stuff. So we went to do our taxes today. Did you guys do your
Oh,
taxes yet?
no, we haven't, but it's funny because my cousin is a CPA and she does my taxes. And I saw her like last week and just forgot to give her the paperwork. So I will eventually. I will eventually. Usually
So
we're
does she
on it.
charge you for it?
Usually. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wouldn't like have her, do work and not pay for it.
Oh shit, I lost you for a while there. Hang on, what'd you say?
I said that, yeah, of course I would. I pay her, we pay her like a little bit just to. I wouldn't have her do work for free. That would be ridiculous.
Yeah, so you might not be the best like person to actually like conversate about this with, but like, dude, I feel like I mean, obviously everything goes up every year, and I thought we were gonna get boned even more than we did this year. It ended up being like $200, which I was like,
Holy shit!
dude, I know, and that's your reaction. And I talked to a lot of people, and they're
Yeah,
like, they're paying more. Like I talked to my sister earlier, and
really?
I've talked to a couple buddies, and like they've paid even more than that. So I thought we were gonna get banged for like 250, like 300, and so like I actually thought 200 was like not too bad. But I'm thinking, man, like last week I was talking about how
Oh
I need to get in
shit!
the flower industry, and now I'm thinking I'm gonna have to become an accountant and just learn how to do taxes. I don't know, but
Well, I'm not even gonna tell you what my cousin charges me because it's feeling like a real bargain right now. I didn't know that costs that much money. I mean, why would I if I have a family member that like does that work? So, but why don't you just learn like TurboTax and do it yourself?
well, okay, so that's what I was talking. I was talking to my sister before and or earlier today, and I'm thinking like next year I'm actually gonna make like so like Valentine's Day is typically tax day, right? I think it's always like February 14th, but I was thinking like next year I'm actually just gonna like take off a day and make that my tax day, and I'm just gonna do it myself, and I'm gonna like save myself like $200. But yeah, I don't know, dude. I always get nervous on tax day because I have this like irrational fear that we're gonna go there, and I withhold taxes all the time. So does Katie, but I have this irrational fear that I'm gonna go
Yeah.
there and they're gonna say like I owe like 10 grand or something.
Do you guys like owe all the time, or well, not anymore with the kids, but like before the kids were around, did you guys like owe on your taxes, or did you always get money back?
No, we've never had to we've never had to pay in taxes because we withhold like the obvious deductions and stuff, and we do a little extra state. So that's always the one where I that's always a little bit like, and I don't do much extra, but I think I do like an extra whatever like $5 a check,
Yeah,
and then I
like
usually
10
get
bucks
like
exact. Yeah.
yeah, usually, and then you get a little bit back. But no, we've never had to pay. Obviously, now with the kids, you get a little bit more back, but it's not like it's nothing like crazy, crazy. But yeah, I just always get like super nervous on tax day. But
Do
I'm
you
glad it's
think one
done.
day you think one day you're gonna go there and you're gonna be like, yeah, you owe the government $7,000?
Well, like I pay attention to things, and I'm like, I know we're doing what we should. So like, but there's just always this fear that like that's gonna happen. I don't know. It's just like it's
Well,
like
the real goal is to get nothing back. Like the real goal is to have zero. That's what people tell me all the time. Where it's like you really should have just zero on the line and not just like getting back like hundreds or whatever. So it's
Yeah,
kind of
but how do you
crazy
even make
how
that
it works.
happen?
I don't
Because
really
like I
care.
mean,
I get money back. I have no idea.
because
No idea.
that would mean that you obviously you just like made more money during the year, and so you're not like in a tax bracket where you get money back. I don't know. I'm not even gonna try and explain it, but yeah, that's
Yeah,
always like
dude,
a very nerve wracking day of
tax
mine. Yeah,
season's great.
that and like buying or like leasing a new car day, like those 2 days for me are like I hate those days. Like even though I don't mind like being an asshole or like negotiating with somebody, like
Oh,
when
I
it comes to
hate that.
cars, like I still get nervous.
Dude, I fucking hate car dealerships. I hate them with a passion. The thing that bothers me the most, this pisses me right off, and I think this is the most disgusting, evil thing that car dealerships do, is you'll sit there and you'll agree on a price, right? And then they'll pull you into this little fucking room, and they'll try to sell you all this coverage and shit, and then they're like, oh, and by the way, if you get this coverage, it's an extra $92 on your bill. And if you don't get this coverage, you're poor. Why are you even here? Basically, that's how I feel dealerships like act, and it really just rubs me the wrong way. So
It's the worst, man. It is the worst.
fuck a car dealership.
I love when they're like, "Oh, this is how much it is," but if you put like 5 grand down, you can get it to this number. I'm like, "I'm not giving you 5 grand. Like, get the hell out of here."
5 grand down, but it's like $26 less a month.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, no, you're not saving me anything. You're basically having me burn a
Uh,
$5,000 check. But
Uh,
all right,
dude, so
well,
one,
let's.
one thing I want to talk about real quick, and
Yeah,
because this is
yeah.
for all
Go
my
ahead.
like this is for all the gamers out there that listen to or that play video games and shit. I know you don't, so you're not gonna. Maybe you have seen this like all over social media because it's kind of like taken the world by storm a little bit. But there's a new game that I have been playing for the last like week or so, couple days, called Helldivers 2, and it's like a crossover between like Starship Troopers and oh my God, what's the fucking movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger killing? Oh, Terminator. So pretty much, you drop in, right? You drop in, you fucking either you kill some bugs or you kill some robots, and you get like you get like points to like upgrade your guns and like upgrade your orbital strikes and shit. And dude, it is the most fun I've had on a game in like years. The whole point is just have fun. And in an industry that price gouges people, like games are $70 now standard.
Oh
Like
yeah, it's crazy.
and this game was $40, and I already know like if they come out with like a $10 battle pass or something like in the future. I'll probably just buy it just because I want to support this dev team and how good and how great they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's for all my gamers out there. Just want to be a space ranger and protect democracy. You should probably go do that. It's fun. It's real fun.
That sounds fun. That sounds fun. Well, the only game I really play right now is Clash of Clans. But are you still playing that Harry Potter game? Because that was supposed to be sick.
I beat that game like a while ago. It was dude. It's really good. It's really
Yeah,
good.
but isn't
It
it like
you
open world? So like, isn't there no
Yeah.
beating it? Like, can't you just always be doing shit?
There's a story though. There's a story. It's not like
Okay,
it's
so
a
you beat like the
yeah.
campaign.
Yeah, there's a story. Dude, it's sick. You can cast the killing curse. I don't know how to say it. You can like just cast the killing curse like whenever. It's insane.
Dude, one last thing for it, and then we'll get into round the lead. This will be real quick. My favorite game growing up. I don't know if you ever played this. I think it was called Dead Rising. It was like where you're trapped
Oh,
in a
amazing game.
mall, like
Yeah,
beating
amazing
zombies.
game.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, that game is awesome. I
That
love
they
that game.
that had like three or four like more sequels after that. I mean, they were all really good. They were all really like great games, but like that concept of games was probably like the first of its kind where you're just trapped in like thousands and thousands of zombies and you just kind of like
Yeah, it was
had to
sick.
do missions and beat out the clock and shit over like 3 days. That was a good dude. That's a legendary game. It
That
was
was
fun.
that was a great game. That was a great game. All right. Well, speaking of legends, we got one in the making here with and I hate to give this is a Sabres show, and I hate to give any Toronto players credit, but you got to give credit where credit's due, and we got Austin Matthews just totally showing out right now. So he's on a 76 goal pace. He got to, I think he's at 51 goals now, but he's got like 6 hat tricks this year. He's the fastest player to 50 goals in 28 seasons. And again, on pace for 76 goals. The last players, just for context, the last players to score 70 goals in a season, Teemu Selanne and Alexander Mogilny with the Buffalo Sabres. And 1992, 1993, and McGillney had 76 that year. But what do you think about what Matthews has been doing so far this year?
If Austin Matthews decided to retire after this season, I would put him as one of the three best goal scorers in all of hockey history. What he has been doing this season is nothing short of remarkable. He is, I think I saw that he has, obviously he's got the 50, I think he's at 51 now, actually. If he has 92% of the primary points that are scored by the Toronto Maple Leafs this season. Like that, it's insane, man. What
It's like
he's
they're
doing,
Josh Allen.
basically, I mean, him and Nylander. If him and Nylander aren't doing shit on the team, they lose the game. Like that's how important they are. But Matthews, man, even ever since he entered the league, he has been an unbelievable goal scorer. Nobody really shoots the puck like him, and nobody shoots it from everywhere like him. Like he finds the soft spot in the zone, and he will score from anywhere. Putting up 70 goals this year, if he does get to 70, it doesn't slow down here over the last like 30 games, it is a feat that is just remarkable. And he is, I know that Ovechkin, I'm hoping that he can shatter the goal record, Gretzky's goal record over the next couple seasons. Well, you're looking at the guy that's going to shatter Ovechkin's goal record when he retires. Like, this guy is unbelievable, man. It's been really fun to watch. And I'm jealous he's a Leaf.
Yeah, I definitely hate playing him. Like, there's like whenever we play the Leafs, even though we do pretty damn well against the Leafs most of the time. Every time he has the puck, he's just like such a threat to score. And I feel like every morning I wake up and like one of the first things I do is like check my ESPN Fantasy Hockey League, and then like go to ESPN and like see what happened, like see what shook out in the games. And I usually click on each matchup, like read the highlights, whatever. And every time I click on Toronto, like it's always like, oh, Matthew scores new goal. Like the dude is just scoring goals every single night, and he's just like, yeah, he's balling out. So we got to give him some credit there. And the injury bug's always been his thing. So hopefully he can stay healthy. And Toronto's also on a bit of a roll right now. I think they've won like 5 in a row, and they're solidified themselves at third in the division there. So they're getting contributions, and they're winning, which is good. But we'll move on to
Dude,
yeah.
dude,
Go ahead.
I gotta, dude. So I'm just looking right now, and I kind of like knew this, but I wanted to make sure. So we're talking about Matthews possibly scoring 70, and then you go look and see what Wayne Gretzky did in his career, and it's just like his numbers like don't even make sense, man. Gretzky scored 92 goals in 80 games, and then 87 goals in 74 games in the 80s. Like, dude, come on, that
Yeah,
is
it was insane.
crazy.
It was insane.
92 goals in a season is absolutely bonkers. No one, that's a record that will never be touched. Actually, I don't even think there's going to be another 70 goal scorer for a while. Like, this is like unprecedented. I think the most goals, I'm pretty sure it was either Ovechkin or Stamkos. I think both of them actually hit 65 at one point, but that's not even touching 70. That's, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think they played whatever they played close to 60 games, probably like 55 games or something. He's got 51 goals already. So yeah, he's on just a torrid pace. But getting over to the firing of the week, seems like there's one every single week now. But we got the Blue Jackets firing their GM, who has the sweetest name ever. I've been excited all day to say it. Jarmo Kekalainen, just a totally baller name. And so he was with Columbus for 11 seasons, made the playoffs in 5. I have some notes here, but I know you wanted to say something, so I'll let you kind of highlight some things from Yarmo and what you think about the firing here. Somewhat, maybe
Well,
somewhat, s- somewhat what people could see coming with the Babcock thing earlier this season. But what do you think?
well, I'll let you pop off and read off the things we have written here, but I just wanted to say that I have no idea how Yarmo has lasted this long. Like he should have been fired years ago. Like just I know Columbus has like their reputation and their ownership is that like the ownership family is great and they're willing to spend money, but oh my God, man, this guy should have been gone years ago. Like they haven't done shit. And I just wanted to get that off my chest because it's about damn time, and Columbus deserves better than what they've gotten.
Well, they've got yeah, so they're currently on pace for their fourth straight losing season. There was the whole Mike Babcock thing earlier this year, which was supposed to be kind of a big signing for him as far as the head coach goes. Again, they had the 5 playoff appearances in 11 seasons, which isn't like a terrible number. I mean, hell, Buffalo would take that, right? But only one first round win, so 4 early exits in those, and just kind of some fails throughout his time there. I just put some of the main ones in here. Losing, but not being able to resign Panarin or Bobrovsky. Like those were both big free agents that they lost in unrestricted free agency, and then currently signing Johnny Gaudreau, who again when he signed him had a hell of a year, but then had a drop off last season and not doing well this season either. So just maybe kind of like time was run out, and the owner came out and said how it was a hard decision. They were friends and whatnot. I'm sure those decisions are never easy, but had to be made. And I just put a quote in here too as well that about from their captain Boone Jenner. It says that just kind of talking about what he thought and things. And he said Yarmo drafted, traded or signed for a lot of the players in their room. And said that they all take responsibility for the firing and where they are as a team. So, just an interesting quote from what you would expect. But the Bills went through that a little bit this year with Dorsey and how they all said it's kind of they feel like that they kind of wear that a little bit and could have played better for him. So I don't know. I relate this
Yeah.
a little bit to the Sabres just in where they're currently at. I know nothing changing is probably coming, but you see stuff like this and you're like, are we close? Who knows?
Well, that dude, that Goudreau deal is still so weird to me. Like the year before, he
Got a
has an
bag.
unbelievable. He's a guy. Well, he had an unbelievable season with Calgary. It was like him and Kachuk and Elias Lindholm were just hot. They popped off. I mean, they were unbelievable. And
I
Gaudreau
think he
gets
had
like
like
that.
125 points or something that year.
Yeah, they were. I mean, those three were unbelievable. Kachuk goes to Florida, and Gaudreau goes to Columbus. And last year, people were like, Johnny Gaudreau is signing in Columbus. Like, it makes no sense. Well, in hockey, like circles, people talk and stuff, and I think that it's on good authority that he signed in Columbus because his wife works in the medical community, and obviously Columbus, Ohio, is home to like one of the best medical facilities in the world. So I kind of think he took that money so his wife could have a good career, but and obviously, I mean, a shitload of money like that, like 9.75 a year or whatever it is. Jesus, man, you'd be stupid to say no. And if you're a guy, I'm not saying this is Johnny Gaudreau, but if you're a guy that kind of doesn't really care that much about winning a Stanley Cup, why would you say no? You're going to get paid your almost 10 million to play hockey, and your wife's happy. So shit, good for him.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like, there's so like obviously winning in any sport is like important, but like it's also like who's just gonna pay me, And like I have a feeling there's like
Yeah,
way higher percentage of players that are just like I just want to make a shit ton of money, like, and if I win, I win, But like money comes first with everything. So yeah, whatever.
I'd be willing to bet that it's at least 60% of players that just want to get the bag and nothing, and they don't need like winning is secondary.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, well, I think we're ready to transition into Sabres news here. We'll start off with the announcement that the Sabres will kick off the 2024-25 season in Prague. This is part of the NHL Global Series, and they'll play basically a back-to-back with the New Jersey Devils. So one home game, one away game, as counting on the schedule. So that's some pretty exciting news. And then they also have 2 preseason games prior to that in Munich. So Sabres heading overseas to start next season. Any thoughts on the global series
So
here and Sabres
the
starting
last
overseas?
time we made the playoffs, the year the year after, which was the year of the start of the drought, we kicked off the season overseas. Next year, we're kicking off the season overseas. So we're going to reverse that curse. My first thing is to say is we're going to make the playoffs next year because we're reversing that curse. We're going back overseas. Secondly, I think it's really, really cool for JJ Paterka and hopefully Yuri Kulik to play in their home countries. That's going to be great.
Yeah, I never thought of that, but that's definitely pretty cool. I mean, the the thing with like hockey is like they have to I think they have to market their game better. And I think it was such a successful weekend, like in Toronto with the All Star game. It got such good reports there. Like the Stadium Series was like two really good games, and like it had really good like numbers and stuff, and just like a big event. Like and now this and I don't know. I think, and I know the Global Series is nothing new, I but it's just it's good for the game. Like and it's good for just eyeballs on the game, and hopefully the Sabres can start off the season next year hot and give everyone overseas a good show. I mean, we'll see. We'll certainly see what happens. But that was pretty cool news
Dude,
to start.
don't fact check me. Actually, I'm going to look. I'm going to look real quick while you pick up the next thing here.
It's probably
But
better if it's inaccurate. Just throw some
I
wild shit
am
out there.
pretty sure, like I'm like 95% sure that overseas the first goal of the season was scored by Billy Leno.
like like which season?
Like the season that we started the playoff drought, like the when we played overseas, I'm pretty sure Leno opened our scoring for the year. I'm gonna look. We went overseas in 2011, I think. I'm gonna take a look.
yeah. Didn't Leno like hate it here?
Oh, he was horrible. I mean, yeah, he made shirts that were like, "I hate Buffalo."
Oh my god. Well, while you're looking into that and getting the facts straight, I'll go into the perhaps the biggest piece of news this week, and I got some thoughts on this too. Is the big Mike Harrington piece that came out? Just totally blew up on social media. Really trended across the whole league when the article was written. But for those of who haven't read it, Mike Harrington obviously is a reporter for the Buffalo News or journalist for the Buffalo News, and basically came out and said that there was a visible reduction in the Sabres salutes to the fans after wins at home. The players were not skating to the center, holding up their sticks, and basically said that this was an interview with a veteran Sabre on the team who says that the team made the decision to stop saluting the fans following the discourse over the 9-4 loss to Columbus when I was actually at that game when everyone was screaming "Fire Donnie," and the team says this is in support of Don, and went further to say that whoever this player was, again, it's unknown. That a lot of the guys haven't been here that long, and it's not on them. Like the drought years aren't on them, and that they're getting the boos are too relentless and too much. So, what do you think about this? I have some thoughts, but I'm interested to see what you think.
Okay, first of all, I found it. In
All right.
2011, we opened up the season against the Ducks in Helsinki, Finland. The first goal of our season was scored by Thomas Vanek. The second goal of the season was scored by Billy Leno. Just a little piece there. That's
Just a
so
little
funny to
nugget.
me. Little nugget. But all right, back to the Harrington piece, dude. I don't know. For me, it's complicated because I kind of understand both sides. Like as an athlete, I get why they'd be so pissed about the fans booing. Especially the thing that bothers me the most is when the fans are booing when it's like 1-0 after the first period. Like you're not really giving these guys any grace like at all, and I get it. And I get that they bear the 13-year playoff drought like on their backs. And that's got to be tough for them. And I get that like Don Granado should have been fired like months ago. But I also understand the fans' perspective where it's like, hey, fuck these players because if they're gonna go and not salute us, which I also have a problem with the piece because I don't even know how relevant it is because they just beat the Kings 7-0 the other day and saluted the fans. So part of me thinks this was Harrington just like pricking on a weak moment on like a veteran and they're saying the wrong thing at the wrong time and he just ran with it. So
Yeah,
I
but I
see
don't
it
know
from
if they
all
were gonna
sides. It's
during that
just
Kings
it's
game.
kind of just super toxic right now. And I just it just really goes to show that this season just kind of needs to end, just because everyone really needs a reset here.
Yeah, I mean, I just posted on Twitter that it's like this vicious cycle of this Sabres season was that like at the top, like Adams filled Granado, and then Granado filled the players, and then the players filled the fans. Like that's basically like what this season has been. It's so here's my thoughts because I'm kind of like I'm really not with the players on this. I think this is total bullshit, honestly. But I'm thinking there was all this talk last year about how we got this big culture, like we're going to be the team, we're excited to be here, we're going to be the team that breaks the drought, we're excited to do that. So how can you say that but then get pissed at the fans for booing you when you're not living up to those expectations? Like you put those expectations on yourself, and I mean you are the team, you're paid to play the game, and when you come out here and say, yeah, we're ready for the expectations, we're ready to take that step, but then we're not ready for what could come from that. I don't know, I have a problem with that. And it's tough because I think, going back to your point about like the booing after like the first period or whatnot, I don't know, man. I still feel like there's been times where they've gone to periods down, but they played good and they didn't get booed. I think a lot of times those boos come when there's like just a shit period. And like, I totally understand that. Like if you had a bad period, like, and it was visible, like we've had our fair share of those this year.
Oh yeah.
That's when they're getting booed, honestly. But at the end of the day, I really don't care. Like if that's something that's coming out of the locker room, to me, like that's a child thing to say. Like, oh, I'm mad that you're booing me, so I'm not gonna like salute you. Like, that's something my daughter would say, to be honest, man. Like, I'm not. I don't know if that's the mentality these players have, they're not gonna make it anywhere. Like, I don't know. I have a real problem with this. To me, it makes me question the leadership. It makes me question the guys in the middle that have been here. I mean, shit. A third of the roster has been here for 6 years or more. Like,
I know.
there's a lot of guys that have been here for a decent part of this drought, so they're not new to the franchise. So to me, it's lack of accountability. It's whining behavior for failing to live up to expectations, and it I don't know. I have a big problem with it, and I don't know. It is what it is. But people are paying to come see
I
you,
will
and you're not
say
performing.
I will say if I was Kevin Adams, which I'm not, because if I was, I would have built this team properly.
That team
But
would
if
be
I
in the first
was,
seed.
if I was, oh my god, if I was, I would have went down to the locker room and found out who the fuck said that, and if it's not like a Darlene or a Cousins or a Tuck or a Tage, and if it's like a Poso or Gergensons or Eric Johnson or something, you're gone tomorrow. You're
Yep.
gone tomorrow. This is not the example. As much as like I'm
No.
as much as I'm brushing it off and I'm like I understand like why the players are upset. Their season's been terrible. Of course they're upset. Like no shit. But if this is a veteran player and this is the example that you're setting for the youngest team, still the youngest team in hockey, then what are we doing here?
Hmm.
What is that showing the players that you can just pout? Like what is going like why? Like if you're a veteran player, you should be like, yeah, okay. If you're gonna say fuck the fans, you got to actually mean it and start playing good hockey. That
Yep.
happened. That Columbus game was months ago. This is like a December discussion. So if you're gonna say that and act like that, you gotta like put your money where your mouth is and play better hockey. And quite frankly, if they wanted to play for Don, they're really not doing that.
Yeah. 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 Exactly.
They're just not.
Like
So I don't know.
that's
I
the
don't
biggest
really.
thing. Like you can't use that as an excuse and then say like, oh, we're playing. Like, well, clearly it didn't galvanize the group to fight for Don. Like they're still playing the same inconsistent hockey. That goes back to the system and whatnot. But yeah, I don't know. I have a big issue with that. I mean, if you don't want to get booed, just win. I mean, it's like it reminds me of like Eichel, literally. Like Eichel came here and was like, oh, I guess they're booing me because they miss me. Like he didn't understand it either. Though we're booing you because you lost while you were here. Like we'll boo anyway. Like we want winning hockey back in Buffalo. You guys are not living up to expectations, and and you're getting booed. Big whoop. I mean, every team gets booed. Every team gets booed. I was just watching a Rangers game a few weeks ago. Not well, now they're on a tear, but this was like a few weeks ago. They were playing more inconsistent, and they were getting shut out to 2 periods, and they got booed. They're in first in the division. Like teams get booed. It happens. But
Yeah.
you're the Buffalo Sabres. You have a 12-year playoff drought, and you're 11, 16, and 3 at home. So you're not putting a good product on the ice in front of your fans who are paying to come to see you. Like, okay, you're getting booed. So what? Suck it up.
I want to pose a question. What do you think is the most important factor that is going into the poor home record over the last 2 seasons? And I want to include that question by saying that there's been multiple guys that have come out and said, we got to win back the fans. Like, we know we got to win back the fans. Like, do you think they're putting so much pressure on themselves to win back the fans that like they're just in their own heads at home? Because the road record is like is fine. On the road, I mean, they just said it the other day. On the road, they're more relaxed. They get in a groove and they just play. So what is the deal at home?
Yeah, they're 13, 11, and 1 on the road. So I mean that's
Fine.
I mean that's
I mean,
yeah,
if you're
that's not
winning if
terrible.
you're winning your home games, you'd be in the fucking playoffs.
Yeah, yeah. Dude, I mean, I'm pretty sure I said it in the like on like episode 1 or even like episode 3. Like I 100% think that the players are just not comfortable playing at home because they are putting too much pressure on themselves, and especially when they go a goal down, they just start getting in their heads a little bit, and they don't want things to spiral at home. I 100% think that's mental, but honestly, I think that falls on like if that was an issue last year, which it was because they were not good at home last year, and it's still an issue now. Like that falls on leadership. I'm sorry, but like that falls on your head coach not being able to get your players in the right mentality. Like that falls on your veteran guys for to not being able to calm your guys down at home. Like I don't know. I just refuse to make excuses for this team and the pathetic performances at home. And now this, if this report is true, it's just whiny. And I don't know. I don't vibe with that at all. Like that's just to me, it's just not cool.
Yeah, I'm ready for a leadership change at this point, and we all think that like oh, Dahlin's the next captain, Dahlin's the next captain. What what if the next captain is not in the room right now? Like, have you ever thought about that? Because I have.
Yeah, yeah.
And Dahlin says all the right things in the media. I really think that he is the closest we can get to a captain. But that room isn't really like showing that they can, they're not really dragging each other into the fight. I think I heard Matthew Fairburn use that term the other day on the Baker Fairburn hockey show. You guys should go listen to it. It's great. Chris Baker has been in the Sabre space since, 2004, 2005 when he was just writing about Sabres prospects. And hey, that's his Twitter handle at Sabres prospects. He's a great follow. But Matthew Fairburn was making the point that like you're gonna see all this stuff in the media, and there's really no one on the roster that's kind of like, if you've never seen Game of Thrones, but like a Jon Snow dragging you into the fight, like dragging you into the battle, being your leader, like showing you the way. Like we don't really have that. Like the only guy that really can do that is, a Tate when he's healthy, Darlene and
I think
Dylan
Tage is a
Cousins.
whiner. I think Tage is a
And that's
baby,
about it.
honestly.
I don't know. Why? What gives you the sense that Tate is a baby?
I've told you all the time I never like his interviews. He always seems like just too cocky in his interviews and just annoyed with the media and stuff. And I just think that he probably gets pissed and annoyed. And I don't know. I don't know how much of a lead. This is just me from seeing him, but
You're
yeah, I
just
don't.
chatting shit.
Yeah, I guess. But this is the multi-level failure, man, because it comes down to like I mean, the players are the product on the ice, but the product on the ice is there because, again, Adams didn't build the roster the right way. Don has no idea what he's doing in terms of game plan and his line management and anything. And then the players are trying to execute whatever game plan we have, but they also don't have leadership either. So it's Adams, it's
Well,
Granato, it's players, it's top down, it's everybody.
part of your job as an assistant coach is relationships. There is zero experience on the Sabres bench right now. There is not a guy. There is not someone on the bench that uh who JJ Paterka is visibly frustrated on the bench. Maybe he hasn't scored in 3 or 4 games. There's not a guy on the bench in terms of assistance that can be like, hey, like I've been in this position before. Trust your skill. You'll be fine. There's not a guy on the bench that they can look up to and know that, hey, this guy's been here before. He's gonna help me through this. That's part of the that's probably my biggest issue with the way the organization is constructed right now, is that yeah, the players are young, but whose idea was it to have the most green coaching staff in the league paired with the youngest team in the league? Like, you got to have somebody to show them the way, and that's insane because they're professional players. But this is the fucking NHL. Like, guys bring it every night. I don't know. I just if I put myself in their shoes, if I was a player, I'd be like, we're not even getting helped from our own management right now.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and like I said, you can see how we started with one thing and it's branched into just talking like about all the other things that happen, because it's kind of it's failure, all the way around. And I think that's why, for me, like a little bit of that, because I know it's not coming from the coaching staff, it has to come from the players. Like if anything was going to come from this season, it was going to have to come from the players, like the few veterans that they have, and maybe getting a couple young guys to kind of step up in leadership roles, early on in their careers. Like it needed to come from the players for it to happen this year, just with the coaching staff kind of set up the way it was. And clearly it's not coming from the players. Again, not that I think they're bad guys, just not leaders of men, and they're not getting it from the coach either. But yeah, it's tough. I wanted to talk about real quick, because it relates well to this, and you'll see why. I posted this on our Twitter as well. But the Predators talked about how they canceled their trip to the Las Vegas Sphere. They were going to go. Apparently, staff, team, coaches were all going to go Las Vegas like a day early and see U2 at the Sphere, but they got trounced 9-2 at home to the Dallas Stars. This was their GM Barry Trotz, and I thought the reason this brought me back to the Sabres when listening to this is because I would never hear Adams talk like this. I would never hear Kevin Adams talk like this. So Barry Trotz is the GM of Nashville. He says, again, we canceled the trip because our standards slip below expectations. When you have young players, especially, you have to send them a message that you can't be rewarded if your standard and your preparation slip below your principles. Like, again, Kevin Adams never going to say stuff like that. Have never heard it in the few years he's been here. Also, he goes on to say, this is not about the Predators and the players. This is about the Predators and their fans. You're asking your fans to buy into what you're building. He says, when we won't tolerate these efforts in front of our fans paying their money to see us play. Telling the fans that you want to buy a ticket and or you were telling the fans that if you buy a ticket to our game, we're going to demand the very best from our players. When I heard this, and then the shit with Mike Harrington was going on this week, I was like, wow, these are like parallel to each other. I was just like, I don't know. We don't. There's not that accountability in the Sabres franchise. There's just no way in hell.
Dude, Barry Trotz, man, what a hockey guy. Those quotes are so good, and then you those quotes, like, they may not mean anything like this season, but that probably just instills confidence that in their fan base that they know what the issues are, and if you don't sack up in this organization, you're gone, and we're gonna find players and coaches that do and lead you to battle and win hockey games, because ultimately that's the goal. But like you said, Adams would never say this. Oh my
No.
God, he would say that they need a pacifier and a bedtime story and a warm bottle of milk.
Well, so that's the thing, though. It's establishing that culture. Because my fear is that this is my fear right now is that Adams is clearly not in jeopardy of losing his job. Granato would have been gone if he was going to be gone already. Sure, the assistant coaches can change, but like, I don't know. Buffalo is not like a super appealing job. If it's, I mean, no one's going to come here for a lateral move, so you're probably promoting somebody that is maybe unproven or just throwing a bag at somebody. I don't know. Is Pagula going to do that? So then you're going to have probably what 75% of the same roster coming back, right? So like my fear is that next season is going to be this all over again because what culture is being established this year in Buffalo? In my opinion, it's kind of like a losing culture. Honestly, I mean, they're showing that they're okay with the whining and the mediocrity. So that's my biggest fear right now is that next season is going to be deja vu all over again. And unless they go out and get those players, maybe that can make a change. I don't know. Maybe it happens again. Who knows?
Well, it still rubs me the wrong way that when Cousins said we're softer than baby shit in like November or October, whenever we got slapped silly by the Flyers, and then Adams comes out and like condemns him for speaking that way. It's like now you know why the organization is the way it is, I guess.
Yep. Yeah. You got. I mean, so there you go. You don't get support from the GM. Your coach is calling you out like every like post game loss and not taking accountability himself. I mean, it's just a cesspool right now, and it's tough. But all right, you want to just talk? Do you want to say anything specific about the games over the last week? The Sabres did go 2-1 over the last week, and they're actually. I mean, they're not having a terrible 2024. They're 11-8 through the first couple months here in the schedule. But any notes from these games? Minnesota was a great game. Anaheim was obviously a bad loss, and then Montreal they come back and get a win. So what are your thoughts from the last week of Sabres games here?
Well, they should have had 3 wins. I mean, that Anaheim game, oh my God, like, what the fuck was that? Like, that was UPL's worst game in a long ass time. Like, there were multiple pucks that like squeaked by him, and I know the defensive coverage like wasn't the greatest, but we could not score. Like, we scored 3 goals, but it also felt like we should have scored 10. So that kind of just happens. But those are, like I said, man, like we said all season long, that's a game that a good team at least gets one. At least gets 1 point, and
Right.
we end up with 2. The other 2 games, I was at dinner during the Minnesota game, so I really didn't catch most of it. But I did catch the overtime, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Montreal was last night. What do you think about last night specifically? Because I I don't think we played our best last night.
I'll be honest, I didn't see much of Montreal at all
Okay.
that game last night, and I was working during Anaheim. The only game I really saw a lot of the last, and I meant to watch Montreal today, and I just didn't have time between taxes, and then Owen had to go to I almost forgot about Owen had a doctor appointment this morning, so we was like running to get them ready. But yeah, I didn't see much of Montreal or Anaheim. I did watch the Minnesota game, which I remember tweeting during the Minnesota game and it was like halfway through the second period to your point you just said, and I was like, this is a game where teams who make the playoffs find a way to just get a point on the road. And I was kind of like, oh, let's see if they can do it, and they did. And so I was kind of like happy that they ended up getting a point in that game. Like you said, you maybe wish that they did that with Anaheim, but that was at home. So what do you expect? Probably going to be a loss there. But yeah, I don't really have much from Anaheim and Montreal. The Minnesota game was sweet. We just always have great games against them, to be
I
honest.
know for some reason I don't. When these 2 teams get together, it's just a banger of a game. It's so weird. And did we wear black and red that night?
No,
No, no. It was away. It was away. So they wore
yeah,
the Minnesota North Stars like colors.
yeah.
Those are
Minnesota's
fucking
jerseys
sick,
were
Jersey
sick
man.
that night. Yeah, yeah.
Those are nice. Those are I kind of want to get one. Like those are sick.
If
But
Minnesota
dude,
makes the playoffs, they're definitely going to be my like second team behind the Canucks. Like I'll be rooting for
okay.
the Canucks, and then I'll be rooting for the Wild.
Can I read you some stats right now that I saw actually when I was scrolling Twitter earlier from the Sabre report about the power play? I don't know if you saw this today.
What was it?
Can I read you some power play stats that the Sabre report posted earlier
Yeah,
today?
yeah. I love me some TSR.
Oh shit! I just like fucked up my screen. Okay, so from October 12th to January 27th, that's 49 games played. The Sabres were 28th in conversion rate, 20 power play goals scored, which was 29th, 30th in expected goals for 30th in expected goals against. They were giving up a shit ton of like chances on the power play, which is insane. And 31st in expected goals for. So obviously those are horrible numbers. From from February 6th to February 22nd, so like this month, this whole month, they're 17th in conversion rate, 19th in goals scored, 17th in expected goals, first in expected goals against. They're no longer giving up chances, and they're first in expected goals for. Isn't that insane? Like, I don't know what they changed over the last little while, but something is clearly clicking finally with the power play, but it's just a little too late. Too little, too late.
Yeah, the power play's been better, but I mean, and maybe we got to give Don a little bit of credit there because supposedly he's been more involved right in the power play structure. I think at the turn of the new year, so that's good.
Yeah,
But
because we had fucking Matt Ellis, who's like never scored more than 3 goals in a season running the power play. Make it make sense. Make it
yeah,
make sense to me. It doesn't make any sense.
yeah. But like you said, I mean, that's like I don't know. It's like when it's that bad, there's the only way to go is up. You know what I mean? It's like I tell my patients like who just had surgery, like you're gonna gain like 80% emotion in like 2 weeks because there's just more to gain and then it slows down. You know what I mean? So there was just so much to gain from the power play. So like any minor changes that Don could have went in. I mean, fuck, I'm not gonna give him too much credit for that because I think anyone with a brain could have improved what they were doing throughout the season. But yeah, I mean there is like you said. I mean, if we're
I
drawing
just wish
some
they would have figured
positives,
this out by like Halloween. You know,
well, yeah, yeah, yeah. And if we're drawing some
like
positives,
just
like
notice that's not like nothing is.
go ahead.
I I was just gonna say just like how do they not see it? Like how do they not see it like early? It's baffling to me. They're doing the definition of insanity, like doing the same thing over and over again and seeing if it works. And clearly it didn't.
Yeah, yeah. But like you said, if we're drawing some positives here as we kind of close things out, like it's been better. Like it's been 11-8, like I said, and a little bit better here as of recently. But like you said, just too little, too late. So as we get closer to the end of the season here, we got I think like 24 games left. So we're in the home stretch. When
Thank
do you
God.
think? Yeah, yeah. When do you think we might see some call ups? Adams spoke. We talked about Adams last week, and he kind of talked about how we'll see where the season goes, and he's not afraid to, or he's not going to shy away from calling kids up and things. And I don't know. So where do you think we are in terms of timeline on when we might see a Roseanne come up, or some of our other prospects, or Kulik, whoever it might be?
Well, I don't think Kulik's going to come up this year simply because they don't want his contract to slide, or they want
Yeah,
his contract to slide so that it kicks in next year. So Kulik's probably locked into the AHL no matter what happens. But as soon as one of Gergensons or Oposo get traded, I want to see Isaac Roseanne up on that NHL roster. And as soon as like maybe I don't know, can you let like Jeremy Davies come up here? I know he's having a great season in Rochester. Can you like trade Eric Johnson, like give him some games just like as a reward for being like a good soldier? I'm thinking trade deadline ish, like maybe like hopefully we make a move like before that. But on the contrary, let's say we do like another Jordan Greenway trade and make a trade for next year or like the future. That's going to be a spot that gets eaten up anyway. So
yeah.
we'll see. I really mainly just want to see Roseanne up here in like a long 15 game stretch.
Yeah, I mean, Roseanne looks to be the prospect right now who's probably the most refined, like in all aspects of the game. Like not like the probably like the greatest chance skater to like not be a liability on the ice, right? And now it's
Yeah.
like now who cares? Like I mean, playoffs are long gone, so like it's not like this is the time to do it. Obviously, you need a spot, so yeah, that makes sense if anything happens with rosters, trade deadlines, injuries, whatever. Um, but yeah, I'm at this point. I think I've kind of officially turned the page to all right. I'm kind of not that I'm in off season mode, but I'm like, all right, let's just kind of start looking at next year and this season it's been what it's been and it's been a complete mess and they obviously have to take ownership of that. But let's just see some of these kids come up, and I don't know, that could be somewhat exciting at least.
Yeah, give us something to like actually watch. I mean, we've watched the first 60 games. Give us a reason to watch the next 20.
Yeah. Yeah, I know we want to talk goalies, so I just want to give a quick shout out to a couple players last like that like Benson, dude. I just got to shout Zach Benson out because like he's just the thing, dude. I think we got something really special with Benson. And I know we said this before, but I honestly think he's just going to be so good, man. Like the fact that he's just not a liability anywhere on the ice, and he's like legit one of our best players like along the boards, and he's like still going to grow into his body and gain strength. He's always in the right place on the ice. Like his just like he's so cerebral on the ice, and he's always in the right spots, and then he makes he makes people better. Like he's literally like he makes his line mates better, which is crazy. Like there's not many players in the NHL that really do that, like elevate their entire line. But it's just like whenever he's out there, it's just dogs out there. Like the
I
Krebs,
know.
Paterka, and Benson line lately has been
Yeah,
killing it. It's like I don't know.
I want to see that line stay because simply because Benson Paterka is a duo that kind of intrigues me, and I think the team got a little bit too locked into Paterka Cousins Quinn at times. Like let's change up and see, like give some other guys a chance to play with JJ. I mean, I think JJ's our best winger right now. He's insane,
Oh, this
and
season,
giving
yeah.
him a chance to play. No, yeah, he's been. I even going forward, I think he's great defensively, fast, a goal scorer. Like he's unbelievable. Letting him that line with a guy that I thought deserved more ice time, Peyton Krebs, and like we have discussed, probably are one of our all-around most refined players in an 18-year-old Zach Benson. It's great, and you're right because Zach Benson does make guys better. It must be so annoying to be like a 27-year-old NHL defenseman and go into the corner with Zach Benson, and he's gonna leave there with the puck. Like he will do everything he possibly can to get the puck from you. It's got to be so infuriating, man. And I'm very I could honestly see him being one of our best players at like age 20. Like give him like 2 years, 2 more years to learn how to finish because his finishing is pretty terrible. And that's probably because you're an 18-year-old shooting on NHL goalies for the first year of your life. But man, he's a special one. I agree.
Yeah, and the growth I've seen even this year. Like how many times in the first like 15 games was he just getting knocked off pucks, like literally ass to the ground. And like that's not happening as much anymore, like whether it's his body awareness or just learning how to like position his body or use his strength and his core, but like there's been huge improvements there. And yeah, I'm just like I don't know, man. I'm just like super excited for him, and you could tell that he's not, or that he's earned respect around the league. Like it's not like he's out there and the guys he's playing against are like oh this like I'm gonna push this kid around. Like he makes plays, and you can see defenders are like watching him and knowing where he is because he just finds the right areas, and that's kind of cool to see that I think he's kind of established himself in the NHL already at such a young age. And then just a quick shout out to Jordan Greenway. Jordan Greenway's had a nice February. So I wrote down like some stats, and I think we've kind of been waiting for this. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if this is sustainable, but a nice little burst in games here. So in 7 games this month, Greenway's a +3, 3 goals, 2 assists, and 12 shots in 7 games. So he's definitely been shooting more, looking for a little bit more offense, and he's had a nice little stretch of games here. So shout out to Greenway.
And props to Jordan Greenway for sticking up for Benson, getting hit from behind yesterday. He was the first guy in there, and I love this guy. I love this guy so much. You talk about guys that do the little things to make his line mates better, and he's also one of them. You need more Jordan Greenways. If we had more guys that replace like Gergensons and Oposo in like a Jordan Greenway mold, I think that our team can be greatly improved.
That's a good point. Yeah.
He he's never gonna play in your first line. I really don't like him on the power play either, but I mean at this point there's really no one else to go on the power play. But man, he's a great penalty killer because of his length. He can move for as big as he is. He's a good skater, and he's just good. I just think he's a good hockey player, and I'm glad that he's here. And he might be an extension candidate next offseason.
Yeah, what do you? I mean, you think ideally he's like a third line guy?
Yeah, most yeah, probably. But like I wouldn't be opposed to even like in spot duty, he's on like your second line. Like he can do
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Ideally it's like third, fourth line maybe, but I just like him.
yeah. Yeah, he seems like somewhat defensively responsible too. Like I don't know, he's a nice like well-rounded player, and I know there was like a big question coming up because he was kind of struggling in Minnesota, and I think he just didn't totally fit their system, and yeah, he's been playing good here, and give him a little shout out here on the pod. But let's talk about goalies real quick, and then I think we can get into the Amherst and then look ahead. But uh, what what do we think is going to happen here? Because we got UPL playing really good, so I don't know. I put in the show doc like, man, there's teams that are looking for goalies. Like, is he a trade option right now? I don't want to do that, but I mean, it. I don't know. I wouldn't put it past anybody, right? Like, that's an option. Do we extend him? Obviously, he could be our number one next year. Like, where do you think that goalies for the Sabres are going to end up kind of stacking up next year?
Well, let me ask you because I've answered the last couple things here. I've started off, but what do you? I want to get your thoughts before I give mine. What is your stance on Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen? Is it Ukko-Pekka lock him in, or is it Ukko-Pekka see you later?
No, dude, I like Peck. I like, dude. Oh my god, I almost called him. So my dad, my like I call my dad all the time, right? So
Yeah,
my
yeah.
dad, oh my god, I can't believe I almost said this. My dad has been calling UPL Pekkanen for years. Like that's his nickname for him. He just calls him Pekkanen, and so I almost just said that. I almost said just like Pekkanen, but that is freaking hilarious. You've got it in my head. No, dude, I think I think UPL has some serious trade value right now. I don't know what we could recoup from him, but I don't want to trade him. I like Casey, like I don't want to resign Casey for like a crazy number, but if the number's right, I just like the fact that like him and UPL like they were just here. Like and UPL paid his dues, and that's kind of the Buffalo way, right? Just kind of like worked his ass off, and now he's being rewarded. And I don't think it'd be an insane contract. I mean, the goalie market's not like outrageous anyways, unless you're like a top dog. So, yeah, I think he could probably get signed at like a reasonable price, and I'm fine with him extended for a couple years here, and
Well,
Levi stays in Rochester.
let me ask you, 3 years at $3.6 million a season, yes or no?
Who's that comp to? Like, where would that fall? Like in the scheme of things?
Well, that's the deal that Toronto gave Ilya Samsonov this offseason. No, he got a 1 year. He got a 1 year. But a
Yeah.
3 year deal for the same amount of money, I mean, Luukkonen's much younger. I'm going to go on Cap Friendly right now and look up just goalies and see where that would fall. Just to
Well,
give some
so like,
context here.
here's the thing. Like, I if you look at like the options for the Sabres, I think are you pretty much have to trade for someone or you're signing probably an unrestricted free agent. And in here, I'll give you like a list of the like I don't know. So here, I'm gonna rattle off like 10 names. These are like the UFAs coming up in like 2024 as far as like the goalies go. And there's not too much here that excites me more than UPL. So like Matt Murray, Ilya Samsonov, Chris Drager, Marc Andre Fleury, Capo Kakinen, Cam Talbot, Eric Comrie, um, Casey DeSmith. I mean, these are the names that are going to be hitting free agency, right? So, do any of those guys intrigue you more than UPL?
No, no, I
Yeah,
mean, not as a starter.
yeah, exactly. And out of those guys, I mean, the top guys here. I mean, Matt Murray, is he hurt or something?
Always. He's always hurt. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
he's not coming back anytime soon, honestly.
Do you
But
know what money he's making this year?
no, I'm trying to find it, and it's my computer's being really dumb.
Dude, he's
Let's
making
see.
6.2.
Oh my lord, that's insane, dude. What in the
That's his cap.
fuck?
That's his cap hit in 2023, 2024. But yeah, so Samsonov makes like you said, 3.5. Chris Drager 3.5. Marc Andre Fleury 3.5. Kapokakinen 2.75. So like Yeah, I think you're probably looking at like somewhere around there, like 3 million for UPL, or like between 3 and 4, right? Like floor 3, ceiling 4, and I would take that for sure.
Yeah, and a 3-year deal gives him like some stability.
Yeah,
It's not a 1 year. It's not a 2 year where it's like you play shit for 1 year and then they bury you. Like it's a 3-year deal, and like you just pointed out, it kind of puts him like right in line with you know other goaltenders. And of all those goalies, UPL has the highest ceiling, absolutely, because of his age and how he's played. And if you want to push the goaltending one step further, do you think that we're going to sign like a veteran backup to go behind UPL so Levi gets a full year in Rochester? Or is Levi's current run with Rochester and hopeful playoff run enough for you to be comfortable with him coming back up in strictly a backup role? Like, we cannot hype this guy. We can't hype this guy. We let him develop properly, let him get the pressure that he needs. But if UPL is your set in stone one, is Levi a good backup option?
I mean, sure, Levi's a good backup option, but then the problem is of him getting games. Like that's what he needs right now. So that's my biggest thing is like I think if they're not gonna have Levi be the guy next year, which I don't think they're gonna be, and I don't think they need to, let UPL be the guy. He's shown that he can do it and handle a workload, and then Levi can just get a ton of pucks down in Rochester, and then yeah, I think you just sign somebody, and I mean, fuck, it could be Comrie. Like I don't want it to be Comrie. I think you got to get a fresh face in here, but
No, absolutely not.
yeah,
No way.
it can't be Comrie. So that's what I'm thinking. Like no, I think Levi. I mean, he could come up with injury and whatnot, but no, I think he's got to. I think he's got to stay in Rochester next year, and UPL has got to be the one, and then they got to get somebody in here to be the number 2. That would be my ultimate scenario there.
What are the who are the free agent goalies this year? Do you know? Do you know?
Yeah, that was the. Did you hear the list I sent you? I know connection's been kind
Oh,
of spotty.
those yeah, those were the UFAs.
Those were
Man,
the
I don't know.
UFAs. Yeah. So the top
Okay.
list: Matt Murray, Samsonov, Drieger, Marc Andre Fleury, Capo Kakinen, Pavel Francouz, Lankinen, Cam
Yes.
Talbot, Casey DeSmith. I mean, those are all
Dude,
Nedeljkovic. I mean, those are
none
your UFAs.
maybe Ned. I don't dude, none of those inspire me at all.
I know,
Zero.
dude. Sneakily, Ned was kind of the one that stuck out to me too.
Casey Smith too. I think Casey Smith is a fine backup, but like there's a lot of rumors about him being like a total asshole, and I don't know if you want to bring that into your room. Like maybe you kind of need that in your room too. Like who knows? But god damn, what a shit list. Oh my
And
god.
here's a name. Here's a name. What about this name? Jonathan Quick.
Oh, I would. There's Jonathan Quick would pull his pants down at center ice and shit on our logo before he ever plays a game in a Sabres uniform. Let's be real. But yes, I would love for Jonathan Quick to be the mentor here. He's having an unbelievable season in New York.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Antti Ranta.
He's that guy is so
He's
hurt all the
washed.
time. He'd be
He's
so
had
good
he's had
if he was healthy. He's injured constantly.
he's had a bad year. He's had a bad year. Yeah, I mean,
And
there's not a lot out there. So
you don't even hear about like goalies and trade rumors at all. Like now you're getting Saros rumors out of Nashville because like with Barry Trotz like kind of calling out his team, I think you're going to see a lot of turnover there. And Saros's name for the first time is like legitimately in the trade rumors, but that's a NHL number one. That's like a top 3, 4 goalie in the league. Like the Sabres
yeah,
aren't in the market for that really anymore with the emergence of UPL. But besides that, man, trade market, you really don't see like mid-level goalies leaving because they're all kind of the same.
yeah, and that's why I kind of put like, oh, like could we trade UPL? Because like he probably could get a decent return, but then it's like,
Yeah,
well, like
we'd be left with
we need
nothing.
him. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's like, and then it's like the same thing. It's like, okay, well, you'd have to get a player because you don't need picks. Like at this point, you don't need picks, so you'd have to get a player, and they probably would, but it just doesn't make sense to do that if we're being honest. But yeah, 3 to 4 mil is fine. And I also just like UPL. Like I just think
Me too.
he's a good dude. Like when I watch his interviews or just see him like post game, like when he's got the sword and stuff, I'm just like this guy just seems cool. So I don't know. I hope he's
Did
back.
you catch his dad saying like channeling his best Henry Yoki Haru and saying UPL's name like in the roster announcement?
Yeah,
Dude,
that was
he's like,
great.
Uko Pekka.
That was great. That was great. We should probably shout out Yoki Haru too because he's had a nice few games.
Dude, I forgot he's been pretty goddamn good this year. Like
Yeah, he's
props
been
to
good.
he was a whipping boy for, multiple years in a row. And if he's kind of stabling himself as like that third, like ideally on your third pair, I know like the Sabres roster isn't like in an ideal spot defensively, but like that guy in your third pair is totally fine with me.
Yeah, it's fine with me. He's gonna make his mistakes, but like he's like kind of like steady more than he like totally makes a mistake. Darlene kind of makes way more mistakes than Yoki Haru, to be honest. But
Yeah,
there's
because
just
he's on the
obviously
ice
way
like
more upside.
10 times more. Yeah, he's on the ice way more. And Darlene too. Shout out to Darlene too, because he has been pretty fucking good for probably like the last 3 months. Like he kind
Yeah,
of started off he started off like not great and like wait even through like almost Christmas time. But I think he's been like one of our best players, obviously, over the last like 2.5 months here. But he can't do that next year. He can't. He has to stop this. I'm going to be shit for 30 games and then be great for the last, 50. He can't be doing that on this team.
yeah. Yeah, but I mean, honestly, at least he's still scoring that. Like he's transcended the system. Like
Like we were
the shit
talking about
system
earlier
as it
this
was.
year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but yeah, and Joker's been logging a ton of minutes with power out. So yeah, just a little mini shout out to him. But all right, I think that's pretty much good. Anything else, Sabers, or we just want to get just quick points on the Amherst here? But you got anything
You know,
else,
it
Sabers?
it was nice to get some positivity at the end there, talking about the Sabres, because like for as doom and gloom as it is, I think Chad DeDominicis actually put out an article this year that it was really funny to read the replies to his tweet posting the article,
Oh yeah,
because
he knew it.
the article was titled something like "It's not as bad as it seems," and everyone was like, "We don't want to hear this. Like, we don't care." And dude, he laid out some pretty good points about why the Sabres could be really good as soon as next year. Like, if obviously management does their part, but it's not all bad here. Like, it's not like the sky is certainly like not falling. It might feel
No,
like it is, but it just sucks. Like we're all just bearing this weight of the 13-year playoff drought, and there's blue skies ahead, in my opinion. But we'll get that those blue skies when Kevin Adams wakes the fuck up here.
yeah. Well, that's the frustrating thing for people is that those blue skies in that year was supposed to be this year, right? You know, like it was if you just made the right moves, it was just supposed. So that's where the frustration is. But yeah, it's never as good as it seems. It's never as bad as it seems. And Chad's right. But yeah, obviously you put something out like that, he knew he was going to get roasted in the comments. But it's just because
one Hundred
again,
percent.
this was supposed to be that year, and they just completely botched it up. But I mean, we assume it's going to be a run back, so we'll see what they do over the offseason. But transitioning quickly here to the Amerks, not much I really want to say here other than Levi just has been going off. So
Dude,
um,
it's the
he's had
Levi show. It's the
yeah,
Devin Levi show in Rochester.
just within the last week, he's had 3 starts and he's stopped. Let's see, what is it here? He stopped 125 out of 133 pucks for a 939 save percentage. So he's in the Toronto Marley game. I mean, the saves that dude was making, he basically like saved their asses twice in overtime and won that
52
game
saves in
for him.
that game.
So yeah, Levi has just been doing his Jedi thing down there in Rochester.
You love to see it because like some guys will, you know, get hyped the way he was, and then he failed kind of up here, and some guys might be a little pissy if you send him down to down to the AHL, and it seems like he's embracing that role fully, and he's kind of carrying the Amerks right now, and that is exactly what we wanted from him.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because like the one game they lost to the well they were 2-2 since over the last week. Like we said last week, they got a ton of hockey, but the game that they lost 7-3. I was like, "There's no way Levi was in net," and it wasn't. It was Devin Cooley. So I was like, "Oh, that makes sense."
Yeah, there's zero chance Levi would be in net for that.
All right, so looking ahead here for the Sabres, we'll get some predictions here for the next week. We got Friday at Columbus, Sunday against Carolina, and then Tuesday at Florida. So what are we thinking here for the next week, Ryan? Until we talk next week.
We'll go 1-2 during the stretch. I mean, we're running into buzzsaws. Carolina
Yeah.
and Florida just played an amazing game tonight where Sebastian Aho scored with 18 seconds left to win the game, 1-0. Like unbelievable game. And those two teams are so good, but we're playing well enough lately that I think we can beat a Columbus, and we'll probably end up getting battered by Carolina and Florida.
Yeah, I mean, and that Carolina game is at home, dude. If they like,
Oh, that's a loss.
there might be booze that game. Honestly, like the play, I don't know. That game kind of scares me, man.
I know, I know. That's a fucking buzzsaw of a team. That's a team that's a team that'll pin you in your own end for 14 of the 20 minutes in a period and just suffocate you.
Well, they're playing good hockey, and they always play good against us, and it's at home. I feel like
Yeah.
that could be a tough Sunday. We might want to find something else to do on Sunday night.
Is that
But
is
I'm
that a
gonna.
matinee game or a night game?
I believe it's at 6.
Weird start too. Oh God.
Yeah, I'll double check that right now. But I'm pretty sure that game's at 6. I'm gonna
Yeah,
go
you're right.
1-2
I
as
just looked.
well.
I just
Yeah,
looked. It's at 6.
yeah. So
Oh, jeez.
we're both going 1-2 then for the next week. So I guess we'll see. That would be kind of on par with what we've been doing. So all right, Ryan, we're about to wrap things up, but I gotta let you get this bozo of the week out here before
Dude,
we finish up because I couldn't agree more.
I came up with this bozo because I was scrolling Twitter. I'm scrolling Twitter. I'm seeing, MLB is starting soon, and there are players, taking their media pictures and stuff. And the MLB has signed a deal with Fanatics to make their jerseys this year. Wow. What an utter disgrace these uniforms are. The lettering is super tiny. The logos look like shit on these jerseys. And the pants are see through. You got these guys taking pictures in their media day, and you can see where their shirt is tucked in through the pants. And then you got other guys taking pictures in the media, and you can see their whole dick. Dude, what are we doing here? What is this? What is this quality of uniform? This is a professional league. Why is the quality this bad in your uniform? And I'm so nervous for the NHL to have Fanatics as their jersey partner because that is coming next year. And if you're already seeing the MLB, which makes so much more money than hockey in their league, that's the quality that they're getting. The quality that we're going to get is like going to be terrible.
Oh, it's gonna cost more too.
Like what have you ever seen have you ever followed the account called Fanatics Sucks on Twitter?
No.
It's people like submit like their Fanatics fuck ups. It is really funny, dude. It is really funny. Like it'll be like a let's say it's a Tage Thompson jersey, like a Tage Thompson jersey with like the number like 79. Like they're just wrong. Or like I saw someone that ordered a Red Sox jersey and it was a Red Sox jersey, but they had Yankees patches, like Yankees like patch on the side. Like
Oh
what
my
is going
god,
on here? Where are these jerseys being made? This is like Chinese knockoffs.
that is brutal. That is brutal.
So I'm scared, man. I'm scared for the NHL because this looks terrible.
Yeah, especially going from Adidas, which is top notch. Like
Yeah,
that's tough. That's tough.
Fanatics has ruined the sports memorabilia market. Like their store. Have you ever gone to shop on the Fanatics store? I have a $100 Fanatics gift card in one of my drawers that I got from Christmas like 2 years ago. I refuse to fucking spend it. I'm not spending that gift card. I'm not giving Fanatics anything.
We'll do a giveaway on the
We
podcast.
should, because I'm never spending it. I went on there to go buy something once, and I couldn't believe the prices. I was flabbergasted.
All right, I'm gonna go through. I have some scores here. I missed what you said there in response to it, like because of the connection. What were you saying though?
What is it? I just said like I went to go buy something on the store, and the prices were just like outrageous.
I thought you were gonna say that the credit card didn't work or the gift card didn't work.
Oh, that would
That's
be
so funny.
hilarious.
But I want to go through, dude. There's some interesting scores here tonight, real quick in the league, dude. The Maple Leafs at the end of the first are up 4-0 on Vegas.
Oh my God, that's dude. The
Matthews
Leafs
hasn't
are
scored
fucking
actually in that game, but the
the
Maple Leafs
Leafs
are
are a
on a tear.
fucking
The
wagoon,
Senators beat the Stars 4-1, dude. The Senators are
dude.
they're
Are they gonna
playing
catch
some
us?
good hockey, man.
Are
I
they gonna catch
honestly,
us?
I think they are. So with their win tonight, they're now at a .472 point percentage, and the Sabres are at a .482. So like we're still technically like a little bit ahead of them, but as of right now, I have Montreal finishing below us, and that's it. I have us actually finishing in seventh in the division, but um, yeah. So that's kind of, and then the freaking Detroit beat the Colorado in overtime.
I know,
So
dude. Patrick Kane and Dylan Larkin teamed up for a disgusting overtime goal. I'm I gotta get something off my chest well before we end. All these fucking people that are like, whoo, all these Sabres fans that didn't want to sign Kane, he's like shoving it right up your ass. Dude, nobody could have predicted this guy to come back and play this well. He was coming
no.
off hip surgery as a 35-year-old. Like, it's like a borderline medical miracle that he's playing this well. So like, good for him and everything, but like I'm not chuffed about him not coming here. Like, cool, go fuck off in Detroit and lose in the first round. Sick.
It is an interesting thought though. Like if he came to Buffalo and played good, like where do you think
I
we
know.
would be in this? Like would it have made a difference, or would we still be
Yeah,
here? You know,
maybe it could have. Who knows? I mean, we wanted
I
him.
feel
We
I feel
definitely
like
we
he could
definitely
have been
wanted
a
him.
guy for sure who that's top notch pedigree, right? I mean he could have been a veteran guy that's like, guys, what are we doing here? Like
Yeah.
especially with the power play, he could have been like, this is ridiculous, guys. Like we cannot do this. So I feel like again, not that he would have been our savior, but I feel like we probably would be better off with him than without. But I mean, obviously he goes to Detroit and whatever. But I'm watching the play right now in overtime. See what happens here. Oh, that was yeah. I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty sick. that was some nice that was some nice puck movement there. But all right, that's gonna do it for this week here. So as always, check us out on Twitter at Saber Spotlight. We are the our individual Twitters are linked in the show notes as well as the email address for any feedback. But we will be back next week, hopefully after a few Sabres wins and updating everybody with the latest news and everything. But until then, we'll talk to you later and go Sabres.
See ya.